All right, so we'll just start with an introduction of your names, the name of your film, and where you're from.
What's the name of our film?
Oh, I don't. Make sure you're missed.
Okay.
Were you rolling on that?
I'm Daniel.
I'm Rachel.
And our film is Make Sure You're Missed. So our film is about a woman who, she's like post-breakup, and it's still pretty fresh, and she's still hurting, and she kind of feels like haunted by all of these.
Like the remnants of that relationship are like still laying around her apartment, and they're like, she has to get rid of them to like move on.
Yeah, it kind of just goes into that area, and yeah, we wanted it to feel kind of like a scary movie at first, and but instead of there being an actual physical threat or paranormal threat, it's just these objects that are like weighing on her.
I think the last shot was cool. We went to a friend's studio, and he used his like C-stage. Like what was it? Like an overhead rig. Yeah.
Yeah, that last shot was cool. Also the first shot with it's a gimbal move throughout the house. Took a few tries to get right, but I think the payoff was worth it.
We dressed the set, and we're just waiting on Daniel to figure out the first continuous shot.
We don't always buy like the latest phones. Like I bought the 7, and then like 2 months later they announced like the 8 and the 10, and I was like, whatever. Like it's fine. It's good. Like it's hard to really complain with such a powerful thing, and you know I think the cameras on the 7s they're great anyway. So pros, it's very lightweight. It's very accessible for everyone, and one of the things that we always talk about is like not getting too hung up on gear. You don't want to feel restricted by your gear, but you also don't want to feel restricted in your creativity because of your gear.
And I think like having limited gear makes you more creative. Like it forces something in your brain to be more creative to get over.
But there is also like a mindset thing when you're holding a phone as opposed to holding like a cinema camera. It feels different for whatever reason. We've felt that same way during photo shoots as well with the phone. For whatever reason, there's like some mental thing that's a little different. That maybe you don't go through the same steps in your head
yeah, well,
that
like
you do with the phone.
using a camera is like muscle memory, and so it like forces you
Yeah.
to use a different part of your brain.
Since we're not used to shooting video on a phone, there was like a learning curve with we use Filmic app, which is a super awesome app, but it is hard to get used to, and we did have some issues like our exposure would auto adjust throughout a continuous shot. So I had to go in frame by frame afterwards and adjust the exposure to be even. So there was a few things like that, and one of the other things was you couldn't really see all the noise from maybe your ISO. So
yeah, it looked great.
It looked fine, and then when we put it on the computer, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so noisy. So I had to do a noise reduction on every shot because it was just like out of control.
Like that?
That bothers me.
All right, do that. Try that. Gotta get the knee in there, you know.
Should I move it? There, that's good. Like that?
I like that. Good?
Yeah. Action.
On set,
so stressed that day.
set we were stressed because everything takes longer than you think it's going to take. Like your actress in wardrobe and makeup takes longer. Maybe there's like something you didn't think about being an issue is an issue. So everything took a lot longer. So we were kind of getting stressed near the end and like realizing we had so much left to shoot and so little time. Honestly, we were stressed, and afterwards we're like, I'm glad that's done. I don't know. I hope that worked.
Yeah.
That was like our mindset. So things never really go as you intend, I think, on shoots usually. One is just planning out your shoot. We storyboarded our shots and made a shot list with each of our shots, and then like what phone we'd use with what lens and what stabilization. So everything was planned, and then as we went through our shoot, we booked the location for 7 hours, and we had to be out of there. So we had to like stay on top of our shot list and check off things as we go and be like, all right, what do I need next? And then so we planned out as best as we could, really, everything that we would need in that regard, and I think that was really crucial. And I think not relying too much, like not getting too hung up on all the gear you could use, and just use what works to tell your story the best way. Because there's a lot of great gear for mobile phones that it can be overwhelming to be like, well, which one should I use? I could use all these cool lenses. So it's just like, we just kind of stuck with what worked.
Keep it simple, stupid.
Great advice, hurts every time.
Hurts every time.